Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
Lily C.A.T was not what I was expecting at all, but in a very good way.
I mean, if I wanted to watch Alien, I would have just watched Alien, but...
The description I read was, I expected like a super just gory ripoff of Alien with like maximum 80s violence, but it was actually like a real movie.
Yeah, I kid. It's got its own vibe going on. I actually
It
like
was
it.
fairly well written too, which kind of blew my mind.
Good. It had good characters. And you know how we've always said good characters can really elevate something that's
absolutely, yeah.
not like the most interesting thing otherwise to greatness. So
There was like, anyway, we'll get into
and
that
vice versa.
before I go wild on it. Another episode of Primal.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anime stuff I watched this week. Tekken Bloodlines. And I think that's it. And before any of that, as usual, the news.
The news. All right. So we got a lot of stuff to cover today. So I'm not going to rush through the news, but I try not to belabor it. I'm already belaboring it. So
Put the pedal down.
first bit of news. Guess what? Another one bites the dust.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Resident Evil is toast. And it's toast because it's absolute fucking trash.
That's almost not even worth saying. Like, it was toast, like, before it even started.
Why do they do this? You know, Hollywood keeps giving these series to people that aren't ready.
Did you know that COVID is worse than a zombie virus? Were you aware, sir?
Yeah, it's worse than the T virus. Like, no, it's not. And, you know, it sucks because I really like
the rest of this episode is just going to be me laughing at that.
I really like Lance Reddick a lot.
I know, it's such a shame.
But,
He's
like,
such a good actor.
One, he's not Wesker. Wesker is damn near a white supremacist. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Two, they just made him look like Blade. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, not all the time, but in some of this, whatever. It's trash. It's a garbage series.
Wesley
Don't
Snipes
watch
called. He wants his jacket back.
Wesley Snipes is awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah.
He called from Zoom and he wants to talk to the Vampire Council.
That was so good that he did that.
Oh, it was great.
Like, good on him.
Oh, I gotta love it. Anyway,
He should do like the Nicolas Cage tour, where he just does 1 million like low budget movies to try to pay off the IRS.
he's got like a comic project or something coming out. He was on somebody's stream.
Oh, that's cool actually. Because there are some gems like out of all. those
Fragga. He was on Fragga's stream.
Oh, nice.
A while ago.
Because out of all those Nick Cage movies, there's some really fucking good ones that like kind of
There are some hidden gems in there. Even something like Wally's Wonderland, which is not a good movie, it's pretty damn entertaining.
I enjoyed it.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I was not mad.
And you know how many lines he had to have in that movie?
0.
Exactly.
I don't think he ever said a word.
He might have said one thing at the end, but that was it.
Anyway, I mean, none of them are better than Mandy, but
It almost makes me want a Fat Marrow. That's wrong, but
yeah,
it almost does.
Oh, I saw Pristine IROC the other day. It made me nostalgic.
Rock Z. If you don't know what that is, go look it up, boys and girls. All right. So, first bit of news is, I think, some good news. Well, it's bad news because it sucks that they waste all this time and money on a Resident Evil series. And what Hollywood will probably take from this is that Resident Evil is not a viable thing to create a series out of, and not they just fucked it up.
They certainly won't blame the like horrific writing.
Yeah. Honestly, Resident Evil should probably be an anime more than a live action series, but whatever. We'll move on.
I think they've violated it enough. Like, let it rest.
Well, I would let Japan make an anime of it. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Oh yeah, it's like perfect thing for that, as you just said.
Anyway, moving on. So this is half of this news I have really no problem with, except that it's going to force me to keep buying Sony consoles, which I'm not against that, but I hate being pigeonholed. I hate exclusives.
Yeah, it's annoying.
And the other half scares the shit out of me. So, From Software, who makes, Dark Souls and Elden Ring, which is, I think, now one of the top 10 greatest selling games of all time, which is fucking ridiculous.
The dankest of the dank.
Made a lot of goddamn money. And Sekiro and Bloodborne, Demon Souls, all that good shit. And Armored Core, which a lot of the rumor is we're going to get a new Armored Core, which I'm pretty hype about. Sony and Tencent
Ew.
have bought 30%.
Ew,
So,
disgusting.
14-ish% each.
I can't believe they're allowing Tencent to buy into stuff still.
So, well, I mean, if you're a publicly traded company, there's nothing you do. I mean, I know what you mean, but what?
No, I mean,
when
Tencent,
you're China,
Tencent should be banned from buying things in the U.S. or Japan or anywhere else.
you would like.
They're
to
also
think that,
fucking
but
insolvent, so
they're awful. So, anyway, the Sony news doesn't bother me that much because the Sony exclusive Souls games, which is Demon Souls and Bloodborne, are really good. Like, Sony actually gives FromSoft money. They let them do their thing.
Yeah.
They don't interfere, and this is Sony Interactive Entertainment. This is not the U.S. Sony. So this isn't the censorious based in California Sony. This is Japanese Sony. So, I'm not, again, I'm only worried about that because I hate when they make things exclusive, but that doesn't bother me as much. Like, if I have to do it, so be it. Tencent is obviously terrifying because Tencent, oh, God.
I don't know if there's anything in those games that they really have to censor for China. They get, like, weird stuff sometimes.
It's not the censorship I'm worried about, son. It's the microtransactions. Tencent jams microtransactions on everything. So a game like Dark Souls or Elden Ring that has hundreds of weapons, hundreds, maybe even 1,000 separate pieces of armor, like spells, all this cool shit. And people are very into, like, fashion Souls. Like, man, I wear shit that makes my character look cool. And it's not a first-person game, so you can actually see yourself. Yeah. If you don't think that's going to get exploited by a company like Tencent, you're fucking insane.
So evil. It'll
Very
make
evil.
the game sell shittier, though.
So,
they will lose money.
I'm not that worried because they're 16%. They don't have any sort of controlling stake or anything. I think Kotokawa, who owns From Software, still owns like 68% or something. So I don't think it's actually going to mean anything. I think it's just a good buy because I think seeing how well Elden Ring did, like, FromSoft is still on the ascent. Like, they're still making a lot of money. People still like their games. So
Tencent's probably just doing what all the streaming companies are doing and just investing in something that makes money because, they're upside down.
Yeah, and, maybe they'll have some part of Front Software, like, make some horrible mobile game for them.
Because I think they pulled out of everything else, like Legendary and all that shit.
Yeah, they did pull out Legendary. Who knows? I mean, Tencent, let's be clear. I mean, if they're a Chinese company, the Chinese Communist Party tells you what the fuck to do when they want to tell you to do it.
I know. Absolutely.
So, anyway, this was, like I said, some slightly disturbing news, but we'll see. We'll see if it really changed anything. I think the Sony investment's a little more interesting because people have been clamoring for a Bloodborne remake for a long time, and I could see it. The game still looks good, so honestly, just a slight remaster and better frame rate would be fine.
A little buffing.
A couple tweaks. I don't want to farm for fucking blood vials anymore. Most of the Souls games are good because your healing item refreshes every time you die or rest, right? Like, it's much better that way than it is like, I gotta go farm more of this stupid healing item. Which was really my only bitch about Bloodborne. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, moving on. So this bit of news, I don't think we said last week, and if we did, I don't care. I'm saying it again because it's fucking important. Grendizer.
Hell yes.
Grendizer is coming back. So we were bitching about there being no Grendizer. Well, guess what, son?
Like
Grendizer.
2 or 3 weeks ago, what did we do?
Mazinger Infinity.
Mazinger Infinity. And, like, they basically just got rid of the whole Grendizer part of that universe. And it pissed me off because, like, nothing has Grendizer in it. They, like, Mazinger, no Grendizer. That, no Grendizer. It's just, and it was so popular back in the day. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So anyway, now they're finally, like, feeding me some Grendizer.
We're finally getting some Grendizer. So they're going to unveil the project in 2023, which means it probably will come out in 2023 as well. I'm fucking stoked, man. I'm stoked.
I'm super stoked.
Middle East is stoked. Love some
East
Grendizer.
Is stoked. Italy's stoked. Spain is stoked.
Hell yeah. Grandizer's bomb. So anyway, look forward to that. Not much. I mean, there's really no news there. There's not much to look into. It's just pretty hyped that there's a goddamn Grendizer show coming. Which is, if you don't know, it's, Mazinger Z.
So much overdue.
Great Mazinger, and then it was Grendizer. And Mazinger Infinity kind of retconned Grendizer out of existence. But if you know anything about Go Nagai stuff, like, don't worry about it. Like,
there's no canon.
The canon. Each thing kind of exists in its own canon that might canonize previous series.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to.
Lot,
and don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You know how Japan's got a loose relationship with canon to begin with. All right. So, another good announcement for 2023. Gridman Universe.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which is the crossover between Gridman and Dyna Xenon, baby.
I've been waiting for that, because that's going to be good.
I'm excited, because Dyna Xenon was fucking bomb.
They were both excellent.
The first half of Gridman that I watched was excellent, and I'm gonna raising it on my list. I'm gonna watch the rest of that. Or I'll just start over and finish it, but it will not let me down like AIM.
No.
Is my point.
AIM was pretty bad.
But yeah, it's straight up, combining the series. It's going to be pretty fucking cool. I don't know. Again, not much to say about it. There's only like one image, but we're getting some new freaking Gridman X Dyna Xenon action in an anime film, so look forward to that.
You know how much
year.
I love crossover films.
Yeah, man.
It's the best.
All right, so another bit of news. This is something coming out much sooner. It's coming out September 13th, so 2 weeks from yesterday. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So,
oh yeah, I've been hearing stuff about that.
So it's interesting. Maybe Cyberpunk 2077, which is just mediocre. It wasn't a piece of trash like a lot of people called it. Like, it was just very disappointing. It's one of those games that probably 5 years from now, after they fixed a bunch of it, will be decent. But, whatever. Anyway, this may be the best thing that will have come out of it, because it is Trigger and CD Projekt Red, which, they caused that problem to begin with. But it's a Trigger series, and the trailer's up for it. It's going to be on Netflix, but it looks like, Trigger got to do what Trigger does.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty damn good. I mean, it's got ultra-violence. It's got what you should have from Cyberpunk. It's got ultra-violence. It's got all the titties you could want. Like, it's...
all the titties you can imagine.
It looks like it's as edgy as it should be, which doesn't surprise you that much, because, what was that show? With the bodies and the sleeves and the...
Oh, Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon. Like, the first season of Altered Carbon was exactly that. It did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, the second season just fell off.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. Which is a shame, because I actually like that guy who plays Falcon. He was really good.
Yeah, he was excellent.
I really liked him, but it just didn't. Anthony Mackie. He was really
Mackie,
good,
yeah.
but like, the writing just kind of dropped off. It was a shame.
It kind of meandered. It's like they had nothing else to do.
Yeah,
so
it didn't even get woke or anything. It just got like...
He had to like fight. The naked fight with his sister was good.
Yeah. No, creepy, but good.
Was that his sister? Yeah, I think it was his sister.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, because she was she got taken when they were kids.
Yeah.
Raised by, I don't know, wolves or something.
Anyway, if you're itching for some more Cyberpunk stuff, and we said it before, I'm always itching for Cyberpunk stuff. This series looks like it might be actually pretty good, so we'll definitely check it out and be talking about it.
Oh, hell yes.
When it comes out. I mean, if it's trash, it's trash, but I have some faith it'll be pretty decent at least. It looks good from this trailer, and Trigger usually is at least entertaining. A lot of times I'm like, come on, Trigger, you went too far. Like, they're not the best, but
yeah,
it's like Kill la Kill. It just kind of dragged a bit, but it was still highly entertaining and very pretty to look at.
Kill la Kill just didn't need 20-some episodes.
No, neither did Gurren Lagann. That's the problem with most Trigger series, so maybe this one will be 13 and it'll all work out.
Oh my God, they have the exact opposite problem of Anno. Like, they get too much money, they don't know what to do with it.
They do. Well, it's like Eureka 7 should have been 26 episodes instead of 52, right? A lot of shows like that.
Eureka 7 is just so weird.
It would have been. I think it would have been an excellent show if it was half the time.
Yeah, because the extra time was not used well.
It would be, to me, it would be up there with Escaflowne. Not as good, but if it was half as long and condensed, I think it would be a similar tier as Escaflowne, personally. But,
yeah.
Without the awesome movie to back it up. With, I'm a Blade man. All right.
That have a movie? Wasn't that the weird movie?
It had a bunch of crap.
Where Eureka,
we're ignoring any of
mad
that.
at him.
There's like a sequel series or something. Just don't.
Like,
it doesn't exist.
What is all this nonsense?
Forget about it. Much like the Razafan movie. Forget about it. Doesn't exist.
Flush it down the toilet.
Flush it down the toilet.
Into the dumpster it goes.
Yeah, it didn't have that like movie that wasn't. It was kind of a remake, but not. But yeah, you know what I mean.
I do.
Kind of a standalone thing. All right, so I don't know that this will get translated at some point. I really hope someone does. But Hideo Kojima's got a podcast, and he's having Mamoru Oshii on.
Oh, my God.
And fucking Hideo Kojima talking to Mamoru Oshii?
Yeah, it's got to be wild.
The world needs to hear this.
It needs to be heard.
I am nowhere near capable of understanding Japanese enough to understand that podcast. But, man, we got to get that shit translated.
Somebody will do it.
If no one does it, throw some money at your cousin, will you?
Don't they have like AI translators?
I'll bankroll it.
Yeah, right. You ain't got shit to do.
She's fluent. You ain't got. Yeah, you Here's money. Here's more money than you would make otherwise. Translate this, please.
Yeah, with your like ridiculous master's degree in like Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that's gonna be happening. If you can't understand Japanese, check it out. Hopefully, again, someone will translate it and it won't be a problem. I just want to see it, man. Like, again, Oshii and Kojima talking. That's fucking bananas.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, you're gonna move on. So, this news is slightly disturbing. So,
Not deeply.
it's not wrong. Like, okay, so the Japanese government, they have an agency for cultural affairs, and they are offering free consultations from this pool of lawyers and mostly lawyers on how to issue copyright takedowns. So they're basically trying to create an army of copyright takedown people to take down various piracy sites around the world. So, one, I get it, right? Like, I get that piracy is a problem, and you should probably crack down on it legally and morally, but there is an argument to be made that a lot of times you're not actually losing anything, and you might actually be gaining something, because a lot of those people won't or can't pay and would be...
Just won't be into it otherwise, because they just can't
and then
afford it.
It gets spread culturally, and then people do buy it. Like, there's a lot of things that were not available here. I had no legal method to purchase them, so I found them other ways, and it got me into things that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten into. And I bought merchandise, and I bought series. If it got licensed subsequently, I bought the series. Like, there's a lot of that. So I'm of two minds about that. I don't like the idea of trying to enlist everybody on Earth to be your copyright takedown Gestapo.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Oh, there's companies that do it here.
Oh, yeah. Warner Chapel Hill is like the most notorious. Don't bully Warner Chapel Hill. The most notorious, like, just if you use like half a second of any music they have rights to, they will destroy you. Like,
and I didn't
awful.
even mean that. I mean, they have whole companies that just copy, like, look for copy, like, they troll copyrights.
Like, that's what they, but that's what that. If you think Warner Chapel Hill is like actually doing music, you fooled yourself. They do exactly that. They are now just a company that only trolls copyrights.
Because, like, a lot of companies like Viz and, video game companies, they hire these third-party companies that just Google search their shit all day and then send
Take
out,
it down.
takedowns.
Yeah, so, like I said, a little bit disturbing.
Many times.
We'll see. I don't think much will come from it because, most of the time these places are set up in countries that don't give a fuck. So
it's true.
It is what it is. Anyway, moving on. And I'll say it again. Like, if you have the means to support and you can support. Right?
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, there's some shit we've
it.
reviewed that, like, I literally could not. Yeah. It's not streaming. You can't. It's out.
And we always try that first. Can I buy it? Can I stream it?
We check everything first. I check buying it, but if I can't, I can't.
The next will be let's get a we got to get a VPN just to check other regions because sometimes you can find shit, but some shit you just can't find. That wasn't the case this week. Lily C.A.T's actually pretty easy to find, so
surprisingly so.
Yeah, it was on multiple streaming, so that's good.
I actually didn't expect to find it, and all I could find to download was like a Laserdisc rip.
It came up in my recommended a couple times. We were watching dank shit on Amazon, so it is around. We ended up watching on Crunchy, I think, so it's on multiple sites. All right, next bit of news, and we're almost done here. Not moving as quickly as I thought. So Amazon Japan has pulled 2 books from the science consultant of Dr. Stone. So wrote 2 books. It does the kind of things that you would do in Dr. Stone, right? How to make this, how to make that, how to do that, whatever. Although it's not very clear to me. It's nonfiction, but it's not very clear to me exactly what the content is of these books. But apparently
I'm sure there's a lot of shit in there on how to make gunpowder.
Apparently some tiny hick Totori prefecture, bitched about it and said it was harmful, gave no real specifics on why it's harmful. And Amazon Japan will not, because there's apparently a law in Japan about harmful content, Amazon Japan will not list the book unless you make it 18+.
That's so weird.
So they're still selling these books through their website, but they're not going to sell them through Amazon, where they made most of their sales. So very strange. This is like, what if like Huntsville, Alabama just decided that, I don't know, Gone with the Wind shouldn't be. Oh wait, they already censored the shit out of that because of woke bullshit. Let me pick something else. Just decided that
You
I
can't
don't
even
know.
censor that.
Handmaid's Tale wasn't allowed
You just have
anymore.
to get rid of it.
Yeah, like wasn't allowed anymore. And Amazon US just said, yeah, you're right, and just banned it. You know what I mean? That's kind of what this is.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Or like the state of Tennessee was like, you can't have it. And then Amazon was like, yeah, we'll take it down from all of our store. Like, really fucking
Seems
weird.
a little
Really weird. I don't know. Maybe it's because we're in the U.S. and, there aren't really much laws in the way of selling things like that. A lot of the lewd content sales laws got blown the fuck out because of the First Amendment. Thank you, Founding Fathers.
They knew a thing or two.
So this is Aranai Igaku Jiten and Aranai Kosaku Jiten are the two books. So I don't know if they're in English. I doubt it. But if you want to track a copy down just to stick it to censors in a weird, I don't know, uptight prefecture, knock yourself out. Maybe you can figure out what the fuck is actually questionable in there.
I imagine it's just they don't want you making like drugs, and I mean, not that he made
Maybe.
drugs, but I mean, he made like.
Why not just say it? Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's weird that they like keep it hush hush.
Yeah. Anyway, last bit of news. So, we've talked often about how there's the two factions that seem to be warring in Japan right now, the like xenophobic faction and the We Make Money Off Tourism faction. And the We Make Money Off Tourism faction is slowly winning.
Money always wins.
So now, and we talked about it last week, but again, now you can get into the country if you want to be a filthy Gaijin tourist.
Without being in a group tour.
It's talking about getting rid of testing requirements for people that have the shot, which it does not in any way comport with the actual science in the U.S. CDC, which isn't the most reliable, but even they've admitted that at this point. But this is just, they're slow rolling it. The xenophobic faction clearly wants to push this slowly enough so that Japan is not going to really be open for tourists until next year. Let's be clear. Until the next tourist season really starts, which would be next spring.
Yeah.
You're just, Japan is going to be kind of closed for business.
Whatever.
They're just, it's just the way, the stuff is going to be slow to go. So anyway, if you're looking to plan a trip.
They're the ones losing my filthy money.
Yeah,
so.
Wait another year. That's my advice. And with that, that's the news.
Boom. Let's see what's first. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. It seems like they're doing like an episode about each Beast Knight, basically. So they've moved on to like, I forget his name. The guy with glasses.
I don't know. Maybe you should write names down. Maybe you should pull them up.
Oh, there's too many. I stopped writing them down because I'm like, they're either going to watch it or they're not. It's irrelevant. So basically, for some reason, if you're a Beast Knight, you could like visit other Beast Knights in their dreams, or the princess, whatever. She's basically Beast Knight. I don't know what the fucking difference is. So anyway, this guy for some reason like talks to Animus, like the mage, in his dreams.
Yep.
And Animus is trying to like convert him because he's like, you're the most like me. Like you should just come, destroy the world with me or whatever the fuck he's up to.
Whiz-biz.
Yeah, so that's basically the whole episode. And the Beast Knight that he's talking to is like, he's like really astute at picking apart like little things the Animus says, trying to like figure out his background. Because he basically figures out that he is from Japan in the future.
Okay.
And he was born human, but he turned into a evil, super powerful mage somehow. So there's like the mystery component coming in.
Gotcha.
And then
Good
Amami is still trying to figure out how to be the greatest hero ever and secretly destroy the world later. So, but they mostly focus on that guy this episode. Good episode though. A lot of like, it's nice they're giving everybody like their due backstory because with that many characters, you kind of, I don't know, it'd be weird if they didn't like kind of give everybody an episode. You know what I mean? It makes you feel like they're gonna go for the long haul and just do the entire thing too. Because I mean, the manga's been done forever, and it's finite, and there's not a ton of it. So, Call the Night. Call the Night was hilarious because like one of the vampire chicks that kidnapped him last week is like giving him dating advice now, except Nizuna like hates all of it. And Ko realizes they tell him that he only has a year to become a vampire. So he was like in it for the long haul. He's like, yeah, in 10 years I'll fall in love and become a vampire. You know what I mean? And now it's like if you don't do it inside a year, you can never turn into a vampire. So it like adds that element of like, oh Jesus, I got to figure out how to do this fast.
Is that like a rule?
No, it's a biological thing that happens.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like if they've been feeding off you for like more than a year.
Yeah, you just become a thrall.
Yeah, like you just can't ever become a vampire. So now he's like shitting his pants and like trying to force the issue, but you can't do that with Nizuna because she's a bitch. So, hilarity ensues. So that was a fun episode. That show is still like super solid. Like, still my favorite like out of this season. Not this was a great season, but still my favorite. Black Summoner is still doing what Black Summoner does. He went to this specific place. Like, they traveled to a different, like, town that they're not from, and that's why they ended up fighting those bandits and all that crap. But that was just, like, an aside, because he went there because they grow rice.
Yep.
He was, like, jonesing for rice super hard, because they don't have any, like, Japanese-style food there. So, anyway, he goes there, like, I guess she's, like, the queen of that fiefdom, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, right. I don't know. She tries to get him to work for her. Blah 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 blah. It's all like standard fare.
Yeah, it sounds like Black Summoner is kind of a lot of standard fare.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sean went on and on about it, but whatever. It was okay. I wasn't mad. I watched it, but I'm not like blown away by it. The characters are decent. It's a chuckle here and there, but that's about it. So that's pretty much all for this week.
All right. So we can move on then. We can move on to other things we watch, which are Primal and Tekken. So I guess we'll start with Primal.
Might as well.
Episode 7. So this show...
The Colossus.
This show is wild, right? So
it's getting more wild.
It's definitely starting like a new arc where they run into basically the actual Egyptians.
Yeah. And they have like ridiculous giant fucking boats or something.
Ridiculously giant boats. Like, their big boats go into like ridiculously giant boats and like dock, and it's freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Giant floating cities. And there's just evil. When it's a woman, is it still a pharaoh? I think it's just a pharaoh. This evil woman who's pharaoh. Yeah, whatever. Who's, got a bunch of slaves, including the Colossus, right? So when you first see him, he attacks just an enormous dude. He's just an enormous dude. And, he fights Spear, and then he fights Fang, and, eventually everybody gets captured, and they get thrown in jail, or prison, video prison.
Yeah, some kind
boat
of
prison. What is that called? The brig.
The brig.
You're thrown in the brig. And then,
Legit.
when he's down there, one of the dino eggs gets smashed.
Yeah.
So now you have...
the pharaoh chick basically...
She takes the other dino eggs to control the dinosaur.
Yeah, she figures out that she can kind of control Fang if she has the eggs.
So when Fang and Spear are in the prison with their lady friend too, they see that the Colossus guy is also
in prison.
And they do separate the lady friend there, Moon, we'll call her Moon, to... with the other ladies, and they're definitely concubines of some type.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, they're like from all over the place, too.
Yeah. So they didn't really pick up that thread yet. So they keep following, Fang and Spear, and then the Colossus, and then they go and raid, right? And the Egyptians are raiding a place where they look like they're Assyrian or Babylonian or Sumerian or whatever.
Like that, yeah.
One of the Persian looking, like it's definitely way before Persia, but that style, right? Like they're raiding somewhere in the Middle East. And, Fang goes out with Spear riding on his back, and they're doing work.
And they're very good at their job.
Yeah, and Colossus is doing work, and they're the only things that can kind of break through because the regular chuds that are working for the Pharaoh
pretty lame.
just suck. Like, they just get their asses beat by these Hittites or Assyrians or whatever.
Whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it ends. We'll have to see where it goes next week. They're doing a good job of keeping it rolling.
I think they're gonna like team up with Colossus and Escape. That's the way.
That's
like,
where it seems to be heading.
Where it seems to be leading.
And then they're gonna have to fight, obviously, the father from before, who's now definitely been taken over by a demon. He basically got thrown. He was about to be whisked off into Valhalla by Valkyries, and then demons came up from the earth and just dragged him to hell.
Back down, which is kind of a dick move.
And threw him in front of, I don't know, the devil. May as well be the devil.
It looked like Satan to me.
Looked like the devil from that Dio cover.
Right.
And he got turned into a demon. So
it's gonna be
now he's coming back for vengeance. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens. But clearly setting up for the episode 10, whatever, probably episode 10, the end of the season.
I would assume so, yeah.
So, 8, 9, 10, that makes a lot of sense. It's enough time to break out and then have that final showdown.
Hell yes.
All right. So, what do you think? Anything you want to add about Primal?
Another excellent episode.
Phenomenal.
I've gushed about it forever, but
yeah.
No, another standard episode. As good as any other episode. The story's progressing. They do it at a pretty good clip. For
a lot of stuff happens in an episode.
Yeah, you feel very satisfied. It's not like you're they don't hedgehog stuff.
Whatever Genndy Tartakovsky wants to keep doing, let that. Just pay the man and keep him doing it.
Yeah.
Zaslav, do it. He makes good shit, and it can't be that expensive.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we said last week, it always costs more than you think it does, but compared to other shit, I doubt it's $1 million an episode.
I'm not seeing a lot of CG in this, so I don't think it's like Futurama where it was costing a fortune back in the day.
Yeah.
But it probably costs venture prices, which isn't cheap, but isn't super expensive.
It's true. Boutique pricing, if you will.
Boutique show. All right, so that's Primal. I mean, we say it all the time. Just watch it.
Yeah, do yourself a favor.
There's another show you should probably watch, which, Netflix has a much better record on their animated stuff than they do on their other stuff.
It's true.
Tekken Bloodline. So, very simple show.
Way better than I expected.
Yeah, it's got CG for a lot of the characters, but it's pretty well done.
Yeah, it wasn't even really noticeable.
It wasn't
maybe
bad.
the very first 5 minutes of the first episode was a little noticeable, but I didn't even notice it after that. So
yeah, it's just a solid show. I mean, so it follows.
They basically won by not fucking anything up.
Yeah, and one keeping it simple, right?
It's a super simple story. It's got everything you want. It's mostly focused on the tournament, which is exactly. I mean, it has enough stuff going on where you're not just this is just a fight every episode, but you get plenty of fighting, and the fight choreography is actually really good.
Yeah, so. That's one thing that stands out. So it follows Jin Kazama, who's the grandson of Heihachi Mishima.
Fucking Heihachi.
Who's that guy with the ridiculous hair you've seen in all the Tekken stuff over the years. It's a pretty simple story. So Jin's mother gets killed, although I think they still left that open where maybe she's not dead.
Yeah, she might have got sucked into another dimension.
By this Aztec warrior looking dude that comes out of nowhere named Ogre. So he's on a mission to avenge his mother. So as a kid, 18-year-old, 16-year-old, probably 16-year-old, maybe 12-year-old, whatever. As a younger kid, he goes, his mother says, hey, go find Heihachi. He's your grandfather. He goes and finds Heihachi. Heihachi doesn't want to train him. Heihachi then decides to train him because he figures it's his way to get at Ogre because he wants to take down Ogre too. And then there's training. And they train, and then it jumps right into a freaking tournament.
Yep.
So he decides, hey, I'm going to hold the King of Iron Fist tournament again, and which he had won the last one against Jin's father, who was apparently a complete asshole, and everyone agrees he's a complete asshole.
Yeah, there's never any,
good things said about him.
Yeah.
Kazuya Mishima. So they have the King of Iron Fist tournament. It's in Peru. You get a lot of cameos from other characters. You got Phoenix, and you got Nina Williams. You got King with his ridiculous,
fucking jaguar head.
Leopard, jaguar head, yeah, whatever it is. Ganryu. You get all the, a lot of classic Ling Xiaoyu, a lot of these classic Tekken characters.
Yeah.
You don't ever get to see the bear fight, so I'm docking 100 points just for that.
Yeah, it's a complete failure because the bear fight's off.
Off screen, it's bullshit. Do better next time. But pretty simple story. There's a tournament. Jin fights. He grows as a character. He fights ogre, he fights a demon, and turns into a demon. Maybe, hey, who knows? I don't think there's much you could spoil in this because I mean it's kind of prequel-ish to the game, yeah. And it's it's just a solid, simple story. Most people hate Heihachi, but Heihachi's a good character because he's not really completely evil, and it's hard to tell what his real motivations are sometimes.
Yeah, they did a good job with that.
Like, it's really good. It's very unclear, but in a good way. The fight choreography, you said it already. The fight choreography is really good.
Yeah, like a lot of those tournament shows fail there, and that like this one definitely did not. Those are actually really good.
I mean, it's fantastical, but it's grounded in some sort of at least wushu kind of reality.
Yeah, it looks
very Hong Kong.
It looks
feeling.
natural. Yeah, it's not just like I don't know.
Oh, Leroy Smith too. He was really good. So it feels. The only thing is, it feels a lot like a prequel. I really hope they do more.
I think they will.
I'd love to see some more of this, and maybe it's already done. Maybe because it was only 6 episodes, and
they probably have
less
12,
than a half hour,
and they always like wait like a few.
Yeah,
months
that's
or
my
a
guess.
year
Is
or
we'll
whatever.
get another 6 because that ending didn't feel like an ending. It really felt like a half season.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see. I can I highly recommend it. Definitely check it out.
It was so refreshing because it's just like a normal story.
Very simple.
Like you would get,
Some of the dialogue is a little cringy at times, but it's not bad. The voice actors are very good.
I've heard so much worse.
Yeah, and the voice actors are very good. So it's not a voice actor problem. And plus we watched it in English. You could watch it in Japanese. And that might solve the problem.
With something like that, I don't see any real point, but
no, well, in the original language, it was meant to be in English.
That's what
in
I
this
mean.
case. So
it
whatever.
is what it is.
But yeah, it's just a solid show. It's nothing huge to write home about or get super excited about, but it's good. And if you're a fan of the games, I think you're gonna like it. If you're a fan of fighting series in general,
it's
you're
so
like
easy to fuck up those like game adaptations because they're almost too open.
Yeah,
like you can kind of like do crazy shit if you want to, but you shouldn't. You should do exactly what they did and just keep it super simple. It was nice.
Yeah,
it was fun and it was entertaining, and that's what that shit's supposed to be.
Solid show, worth it for Heihachi alone.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, just great show. Check it out. One of the actual worthwhile things on Netflix.
Yep.
All right. Well,
and it's 6 episodes. You can hammer it out in a day if you wanted to.
Yeah, and if there's more, great. You'll be excited. All right, so it's time, man. Time. We were going to get to the main feature.
Is it review time?
Lily C.A.T.
This one I actually didn't even know existed. Like, I'd heard the name, but I never even read about it. I'd never seen it before.
Like I said, it come up a couple times on the Amazon records. When we watch things like Goku Midnight Eye.
Yeah. But, excuse me. It was not what I expected at all. Like I said before, I expected it to be just, like, a super gory, like, alien ripoff with, like, the most 80s gore and titties you could have, but it had like literally none of that.
It's very restrained in the titties department. There's some gore, not a ton,
barely
but some.
anything. For that era.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's very restrained, but it's still got
anything.
that same detail and that same kind of feel.
Yes.
So what is it about? So Lily C.A.T. So it's alien. No, it's not exactly alien. It's actually different. So
it's
basically
alien.
it's in the future, and it's like 20 or so people that work for this corporation that are going to go out and do some mining survey on a planet, some planet survey of this planet that's going to take 20 years to get to and 20 years to get back from. So they're going to be 40 years. Now they'll be in hypersleep. They'll age a month, I guess, out there and a month back. So they don't really age. Other people age around them. Again, very alien in that regard. There's also, there's the corporation people, and then there's also the crew of the ships. There's like 5 or so crew of that ship.
Yeah.
And the captain is one of the coolest characters. Harry Mead, I think, is the captain.
He's so good. He's so like matter of fact, like normal guy.
No, Harry Mead is the doctor. Mike Hamilton.
Yes.
Captain Mike Hamilton. Yeah, he's really cool. Not as cool as Dick Barry. Won't get into him. Yeah. He wants to get into you, though. Oh.
Hey-o.
Anyway, so it's from the late 80s. It's a little long for one of these OVAs. It's 67 minutes, so it's almost a movie in length.
I would treat it as a movie.
But anyway, so they're going out into space. The designs look like Alien, the original Alien. Like a lot of the ship
all the ship designs and stuff look exactly
ripped
like
off.
Alien,
Straight ripped off. But anyway, they come out of you see the ship pick up like some particle from space, some like rock from space, and then it gets in the ship, and you see it get, the stupid robot arm is dumb and like cracks it into like the cooling system, and then it contaminates the water and whatever else. All right, and then people wake up and they realize, oh shit, well, we woke up early. All right. Oh no, they didn't wake up early. That's right. They wake up and they're there, but then they realize someone had woken up early and done something, because there's like a transmission they got about like people that had snuck on board, but that's been erased or partially erased.
Yeah.
And like clearly something had been going on in that intervening 20 years where, everybody was in cryo sleep. So it goes from there, and I don't want to say too much because it will spoil it, but people start dying mysteriously. There's talk about Legionnaire's disease, space bacteria, a little Andromeda strain-ish going on in there.
Yeah.
There's a cat. There's a sinister cat doing sinister cat things.
Yeah, it's funny.
Becomes very pivotal. Lily Cat is indeed, pivotal. And
it's like they took the cat from Alien and like made it a main character.
There's a really cool story surrounding the people that are on board and stowing away. Like, there's a really good reason that people stow away on these ships. I'm not going to spoil that either because it's pretty good.
Yeah, that was like one of the best
cool
things in the movie, because you think about it, it's like, oh man, people would totally do that if they could. It's very crafty. I like it.
Yeah, so it proceeds as you would expect, where people are dying. They're figuring more and more stuff out.
Yeah,
there's horrific monsters.
There's a really cool mystery element to it.
Yeah, then there's some horrific monsters, and there's definitely a little influence from The Thing in here as well.
Oh yeah,
not just Alien. Yeah, and then it ends, and there's an ending. So that's the basic plot summary. I mean, I'm glossing over it a bit, but not much. I mean, again, it's a very simple plot, like very straightforward, but well executed. So designs. So Yoshitaka Amano.
Yeah.
Who did, Vampire GD.
I was not aware of that until I saw the
old
credits.
Final Fantasy art, and he's done some character designs for other series, but he did the character designs, so they're very cool. Characters themselves, talk about them a little bit. So the captain's awesome, one of my favorite characters. Jiro Takagi, or is he? Bum 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 bum. Is an interesting character. He's got interesting motivations. I like him. What is his name? Is it Gottwald, or is it Guy? The guy with the shotgun. I think it's Guy.
Oh yeah.
There's a dude with a shotgun. He's got a shotgun. Whatever. Close Encounters.
He's like, I don't go anywhere without my shotgun.
He doesn't last long, but he's pretty cool. So you have an interesting cast of characters. The guy from the Australian office, who maybe more than he seems to be, is very interesting as well. So there's a little bit of that paranoia element they work in here.
Yeah. Because you basically they find that message that somebody's been like, somebody isn't supposed to be there, and they've been like creeping.
Yeah, but then it's erased. The end of it's erased, where it tells you who. Like, we figured out who it is, and it's erased.
So it's like this big like mystery, which actually makes it a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
Because it would not have worked that great as just like a straight space horror type of thing. You know what I mean?
No, they definitely added enough, spice in there to make it more interesting.
The main characters are basically the Australian chick and the Japanese guy.
I don't even know if she's Australian. She might just be American. I don't know.
I thought she was Australian.
That one guy was from the Australian office. I don't know if she was supposed to be from the same office or not.
I'm pretty sure they said she was Australian.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
She very well could be. It's just some generic blonde girl, so it doesn't really matter. Doesn't affect the plot at all. Anyway, what'd you like?
It kind of does, because she's the one that brought the cat on board.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter which country's office she works for. She's not even. She's like the boss's like daughter or whatever of one of the offices. Yeah, so it doesn't matter what.
I'm just saying she brought the cat on board.
Oh yeah, she's important. She's an important character. My point is which office she comes out of don't fucking matter.
Shit where she came from.
Don't fucking matter.
I'm pretty sure she was Australian.
Yeah, well,
regardless.
Sure. Don't matter. Anyway, what'd you like about it?
I liked that it was not what it said it was. I mean, I love those like hyper violent 80s, just super gory, no story.
Empty Geist.
Yeah, exactly. But it is nice to have like something with like a well-written story. They did not leave any plot holes at all. Like, they sewed up everything. They had, like, exposition to tell you about stuff at the beginning for how that shit worked. I love the stuff they did with, like, like, how traveling for, like, through space for, like, decades and then coming back and all your family and friends are dead and shit. They do a lot of, like, stuff on that, which is very interesting.
Yeah, they explore that, which is smart. It's smart and it's good writing.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. I mean, it's very, very derivative, but they took those parts. We've said this before about shonen and other things. They took those derivative parts and they made something their own that's very good.
The stuff they chose to fluff out was like stuff you want to know more about. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like boring exposition.
And stuff that wasn't really explored in something like Alien.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Aliens.
They kind of just got more into that
I mean,
stuff.
not much. Even that extended cut of Aliens only explores it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's just, he has this whole soliloquy where he's like just on talking about how like it's fun when you go out and then you come back after the first time. It's like, oh man, like, my fucking, it wasn't his kid. It was just like the kid next door or something is like, an adult now. And then you do it the second time. It's just like, oh God, I made a terrible mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. I like what they explored. I like there's good pacing, so there's just enough action to keep it interesting.
Some of the random characters in the crew that they didn't even focus on were like so cool. I was mad when they died.
Yeah, there were some cool side characters.
You're definitely here just for fodder, but it's kind of a bummer because like, your character is pretty
Yeah, you could have definitely made a full hour and a half or even a 2-hour movie out of this and it wouldn't have felt stretched.
No, not at all.
You could have explored some more. So I'm actually, I suppose that's only, I don't even think it's a complaint. But it's one of those things that, like, I think they could have done more, and it actually might have even been better if they did a little more.
Yeah, definitely.
And often it's cut down
because, like, they're like, kind of getting into stuff. Like, was probably the most interesting part. So if they'd done more of that, like, even the Japanese kid's backstory was like interesting, and that whole thing with like the other guy.
They have to rush the exposition a bit, and I shouldn't say rush because it's not really done poorly. It's just they could have done it more slowly, and I think it would have actually been better.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, like it was kind of a slow burn kind of movie, really, because it's all it's just like mystery and build up till you get to the end.
Listen, nothing will be as slow burn as Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Oh, jeez. Slow burn to what though?
Yeah, great atmosphere. Don't watch it.
Great atmosphere, like super interesting story, but then it just builds up to nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is even going on here?
But yeah, Lily C.A.T, excellent. Definitely say check it out. Like I said, it's streaming. It's on Crunchy. I think it's on Amazon. It's probably streaming at a lot of other sites too. So, track it down, check it out, give it a watch. It's worth your hour and 7 minutes. For sure.
It's like, I'm surprised I never heard of it, honestly. Because usually, at least, I recognize all that, like so many of those old...
I hadn't seen it before, for sure.
Yeah, like, I can't believe it, like, slipped through the net, because I've...
And it was localized over here.
Yeah, most of that stuff I've, seen at least once, like, 20, 30 years ago. But that, like, completely new to me.
Yeah.
So, it's a nice surprise. Anyway, that's it for today. As usual, have a fantastic week. We'll catch you next time.
Peace. Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe, and may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.